God, with infinite wisdom, carved an ancient secret deep into the earth. A vast green ocean lies at the wild heart of South America, overflowing with moisture, life, and primal breaths. A golden, spotted shadow glides silently through the mystical darkness. Two small, unblinking eyes peer out just above the water. Massive body coils restlessly beneath the pitch-black river currents of the jungle. For the past 50 million years, this deep green maze has quietly filtered the atmosphere, nurturing countless life forms and holding a vital piece of humanity's survival. It is a sanctuary of abundance, where nature displays its grandest glory yet operates under the harshest rules. This is the Amazon, the kingdom that is mysterious, brutal, and just too wild to be tamed. Spanning nearly 7 million square kilometres and covering parts of 9 South American nations. The Amazon is home to a unique ecosystem and communities of people who shaped this land long before Europeans ever set foot here. Life is packed into every single inch here. There are species that spend their entire lives without ever touching the ground. Others grow deep under the dark soil where sunlight has never reached. This harsh land plays a vital role in keeping the planet running, shaping weather patterns, and acting as a massive carbon sink. The twisting rivers, dense forests, and unmatched biodiversity make this place a true wild paradise. Though many people mistakenly think this treasure belongs to just one nation, the Amazon rainforest is actually a shared heritage for all of humanity. The heart of the jungle lies in Brazil, which holds about 60% of its area, but its massive body stretches proudly across Peru, Colombia, Venezuela, and 5 other South American countries. Born from the bed of an ancient, dried-up ocean, today's Amazon is the ultimate cradle of life, sheltering over 10% of all known species on Earth. The biodiversity here is a miracle, ultimate proof of nature's incredible creativity and resilience. From ancient trees towering into the clouds to tiny creatures beneath the leaf litter, everything plays a part in a sacred ecological symphony. They aren't just residents of the jungle, they are its silent guardians. Thick moisture wraps around everything, feeding this immortal green body. With its endless secrets and beauty, the Amazon is more than just a home for wildlife, that it's a reminder to humanity to protect and respect. In the middle of that vast land, a golden shadow glides in total silence. The jaguar is the true ghost of the Amazon. No sound, no tracks. With a compact but incredibly muscular body, it can stay completely still for hours, then suddenly strikes so fast that death hits before the prey can even react. Its golden coat covered in black rosettes isn't just beautiful, it's the perfect camouflage, helping it blend right into the fallen leaves and dark spots under the forest canopy. Unlike lions that usually bite the neck, jaguars aim for the head, using one of the strongest bite forces among all big cats to finish off their prey. Jaguars absolutely love water. They jump into rivers, swimming and diving gracefully to hunt down some of the heaviest prey around, including caimans. The mysterious Amazon River isn't just a source of life. It's a brutal battlefield where the jaguar lives a mostly solitary life, ruling both land and water that, just like the Amazon, asserts its own power. But don't forget, the Amazon isn't just about the ground. The Harpy Eagle rules the sky like a tyrant with no natural predators, except for humans. Specialized wing feathers allow its massive body to glide in absolute silence. From hundreds of feet up, its sharp eyes spot the tiniest movements in the thick leaves, and when it closes in on a target, it unleashes its deadly weapon. Its back talon measures up to 5 inches long, as big as a grizzly bear's claw, and is more than strong enough to snatch up monkeys and sloths in the blink of an eye. By hunting tree-dwelling mammals, they help keep animal populations stable, balancing the jungle's fragile web of life. Males and females share the duties of hunting, foraging, and guarding their chicks. Because in the Amazon, raising a young eagle to adulthood is a true test of stamina and dedication. Wherever the Harpy Eagle survives, the forest is healthy. Their presence is the ultimate yardstick for the Amazon's vitality. Heading north in the jungle, the line between myth and reality gets blurry. The wide Potaro River flows calmly to the edge of a cliff and suddenly vanishes. A massive curtain of water, 741 feet high, nearly 5 times taller than the famous Niagara Falls, plunges straight down into the deep abyss. Kaieteur Falls roars loudly, shaking the wilderness long before you even see it. White mist rises like smoke from a hidden fire. Rainbows hang in the mist, and the air is thick with moisture. All around, the sounds of insects, tropical birds, and the crashing water create a show of pure natural power. The craziest part is that there are no guardrails, just one slip, and you could be swept away by the current and dragged down into the deep gorge. It's a feeling that's both thrilling and terrifying. Nature shows itself in its rawest form, without any filters. Kaieteur is so remote, wild and isolated that you feel like the first person to ever lay eyes on it. The mist from Kaieteur slowly fades into the deep forest. As the roar of the falls dies down, the jungle sinks back into a primal quiet. In that stillness, any movement feels unnecessary. High up in the bright forest canopy, a sloth hugs a tree branch tightly, living a life as slow as growing moss. Thanks to a layer of symbiotic algae turning its fur green, it blends perfectly into the leaves. Moths and bugs live right in that fur, creating a tiny ecosystem that thrives on the animal's slow-motion lifestyle. Sloths move incredibly slowly, barely making a vibration in the leaves. This quiet rhythm is exactly what keeps them hidden from predators that react to movement, like jaguars, allowing them to survive. In the world of the Amazon, being slow is sometimes the biggest advantage. In stark contrast to the near-total silence of the sloth, the Amazon canopy shakes every morning with the fierce roars of howler monkeys. It's hard to believe a monkey weighing just a few pounds can make a sound that feels like a siren blaring in the deep jungle. Each howl is a statement, marking territory and rank in the canopy to help different groups avoid conflicts. Interestingly, only the males make these loud roars. Most of a howler monkey's life happens up in the treetops, dozens of feet in the air. They rarely come down to the ground, spending their days looking for young leaves, buds, and ripe fruit. A long, strong tail wraps tightly around branches like an extra hand, keeping them safe as they move through the jungle maze. Their heavy leaf diet provides very little energy, forcing them to save every bit of strength. They can lie completely still for up to 15 hours a day, letting the forest pass them by. They are slow-living creatures, yet they hold a voice that carries farther than anything else in the Amazon. In the dark, damp world of the Amazon, colour isn't just about beauty. It's a language for survival, used to warn others and attract mates. Under the sunlight filtering through the canopy, the toucan's beak glows like a piece of a living rainbow, sculpted by a jungle artist. The shades of yellow, orange, red, green and blue, along with their unique patterns, serve as a way to communicate, helping individuals recognize each other, send signals and pick partners. It's a clever survival tool that lets toucans get to food sources other birds can't reach. At the same time, that beak works like a natural radiator to cool them down in the hot, humid weather. Set against jet black feathers with a few splashes of white, red and yellow, this look seems too bright, yet it actually helps the toucan blend into the colourful world of tropical fruits, making it the most recognizable icon of the jungle. Hopping gently through the gaps between branches in the canopy, the toucan keeps up its search for ripe fruit across an endless ocean of green. Cutting through the heart of the forest is the Amazon River, the massive lifeblood of South America. Starting from melting snow in the Andes, the river begins a long journey of about 4,400 miles toward the Atlantic Ocean. This gigantic basin holds 1/5 of the planet's fresh water, twisting through 9 countries. During peak season, the river dumps over 200,000 cubic meters of water into the ocean every single second, enough to fill more than 80,000 Olympic swimming pools. Grand and untamable, not a single bridge crosses it. This river isn't just a single, steady channel. It splits, branches off, comes back together, and constantly reshapes itself. Villages, towns, and cities pop up along its banks, while boats become the only way to connect life across this green ocean of rainforest. There are more fish species living here than in the entire Atlantic Ocean. It's a vital lifeline that binds the pulse of our planet into one continuous flow. Beneath the calm waters of the Amazon, a tiny ripple gently shakes the green duckweed. It's not the wind, but the slick, long body of an anaconda, silently coiling itself like a giant rope. Grand and imposing, the anaconda rules the calm waters of the Amazon like a true king. Its massive body stretches to an incredible length of up to 29 feet, gliding gracefully but with absolute power. Its olive green skin, dotted with black spots, gives it excellent camouflage in the murky water. The anaconda is a fast, smart hunter. It moves without a sound, using its excellent swimming skills to close in on prey ranging from fish and amphibians to medium-sized mammals, with small eyes sitting on top of its head. It almost disappears from view in the muddy water. The anaconda doesn't hunt like a jaguar. Its ultimate weapon is patience. And when the timing is right, a sudden strike drags the prey underwater, followed by a crushing squeeze that locks down blood flow and breath until life completely slips away. In the final months of the year, the Amazon shifts to welcome the first rains. It doesn't happen out of nowhere. The sky signals it with a heavy, dark atmosphere and the scent of a damp jungle spreading fast on the wind. This is the prelude to an explosive symphony, the time when millions of species enter their breeding season. Then the first raindrops fall, hitting the thick canopy with soft sounds, waking the forest from a long sleep. Water soaks through the bark of ancient trees and sinks deep into the old soil. In no time, the whole forest starts to change, filling out and looking fresher, reaching down to the smallest worlds of the Amazon. Beneath the fallen leaves, the tiny world of insects starts a quiet but hurried migration, clinging to exposed roots to race against water levels that rise by the hour. When the rain stops, the Amazon wears a completely different look. Weak beams of light reflect off dark tree trunks, making the forest glow quietly. Rising waters turn lowlands into a grand flooded maze. Once again, the Amazon enters its most dramatic transformation of the year. Every year, the Amazon River overflows its banks, turning the jungle into a vast sea of water. This is the world of the Amazon River dolphin, also known as the boto. Spending its whole life navigating murky waters, the Bodo took an incredible evolutionary turn to adapt. Long pectoral flippers and a low dorsal fin help them maneuver easily through flooded forests. Neck vertebrae that aren't fused together let them turn their heads up to 180 degrees to either side. The Bodo's eyesight is pretty limited. Instead, they use a highly developed echolocation system. Constant sound pulses help them map out a sound picture of the world around them. A long snout helps them poke around for prey hiding in rotting logs or flooded bushes. The trade-off for that top-notch flexibility is a cap on their speed. Bodos are much slower than their ocean cousins. Luckily, in the Amazon, the Bodo has almost no natural predators, except for humans. Pollution, climate change, and habitat loss are putting the Bodo's future at risk. When the floods peak, the flooded forests of the Amazon are no longer safe, because lurking in the deep water is the legendary Arapaima, the largest freshwater fish in the world. This ancient giant, weighing over 485 pounds, has a unique evolutionary privilege: the ability to breathe air. Every 15 minutes or so, it surfaces while hunting. This amazing trait lets it rule even dead zones where oxygen levels have completely bottomed out. A master of ambush in murky water, the Arapaima stays as still as a rotting log before unleashing its terrifying muscle power. Its massive mouth opens up, creating a thunderous vacuum pull that swallows everything from fish and birds to careless little creatures wandering too close to the surface. This apex predator is living proof of an Amazon ecosystem that is always changing and incredibly resilient. The city of Manaus is a surreal, modern megacity rising proudly right out of the deep green ocean of the vast Amazon jungle. Around the city, the Amazon flows day and night like an ancient giant guarding its territory, forcing all roads to stop dead in their tracks before the power of nature. The rubber boom turned Manaus from a town of about 30,000 people in the 1870s into a city of nearly 180,000 by 1920. Money poured in so fast that Manaus was called the Paris of the Amazon. Traces of that wealth still stand in the Grand Opera House, a European-style building that looks like a misplaced dream, right in the middle of a hot, humid jungle. Today, glass towers and modern factories stand right against the thick green wall of the forest, making it feel like civilization is being squeezed by nature. Ships travelling up and down the river replace highways, and river branches wind through the forest like natural paths handed down by Mother Amazon. Because there are no major highways connecting it well to the rest of the country, Manaus still feels like a modern island in the jungle, mostly reached by plane or riverboat. Right outside, Manaus is one of the most visually confusing natural phenomena in the Amazon. Two massive rivers flowing side by side without mixing. On one side is the Rio Negro, dark as black tea. On the other is the Solimões, carrying a lighter, silt-rich current. For nearly 4 miles, these contrasting rivers flow right next to each other, but absolutely refuse to blend, as if someone drew a straight line right on the water. This striking contrast happens because the two rivers have very different properties in temperature, speed, and density. The Rio Negro is warmer, slower, and acidic. The Solimões is cooler, faster, and packed with mud and sediment. And when the currents finally blend downstream, the dark water starts to reveal its own story, giving birth to some of the most spectacular landscapes in the world. Like green gems dropped into dark water, Anavilhanas appears with about 400 islands crowded into the maze of channels of the Rio Negro. It's one of the largest freshwater archipelagos on Earth, where water levels can rise and fall by 33 to 40 feet every year, constantly rewriting the landscape. When the water rises, the forest floods. Ancient tree trunks stand straight out of the river, and boats can glide under leaves hanging so low they brush your head. When the water drops, white sandbanks and strange strips of land show up. Like a secret world, this side of the Amazon only opens up for half the year. The tea-coloured water is as flat as a mirror, reflecting the sky and the forest, but it also hides black caimans, giant otters, and many rare creatures. In the dark waters of the Amazon, where jaguars sometimes venture out to hunt, lives a predator that is much older and bigger, the black caiman. Stretching over 12 feet long and wearing an armor of hard, bulletproof bone scales. It's a creature the size of a small car that can move like a ghost underwater. The Caiman is a perfect hunting machine that has evolved over millions of years. Eyes, ears, and nostrils lined up right on top of its head, combined with its black skin, let it sink deep into the dark water, staying hidden like a rotting log for hours as it waits for prey. Fish, birds, capybaras, and even smaller caimans that everything can get trapped when they get too close to the water. When a death trap of 68 teeth snaps shut, the jaw muscles release a terrifying pressure of up to 4,000 psi, locking tight with no way out. The black caiman is the quiet guardian of the Amazon. They protect the invisible balance of the ecosystem and outlive a human lifespan. Looking into the eyes of a caiman is looking right back at a proud era of reptiles that still rules the planet. The capybara has found its home in this soggy kingdom. This social, water-loving mammal is the largest rodent in the world, and it has adapted perfectly. Looking like a strange mix between an ancient rat and a small hippo, the capybara moves with real composure. In the water, they are graceful dancers, thanks to webbed feet that act like natural paddles, helping them push through shallow swamps with ease. On the riverbanks and flooded lakes of the Amazon, the capybara stands out with its gentle look and calm behavior. It embodies harmony and peace in the river environment it calls home. Its thick, coarse fur, ranging in shades of brown, provides protection against the challenges of the wild. Yet, behind that relaxed look, their ears are always listening to the slightest movements of nature. Because in this kingdom, they are a favorite snack for top predators like jaguars. Life along the Amazon is a fascinating world where over 30 million people live completely by the rhythm of the water. They build tall stilt houses to avoid floods, treat boats like their own 2 feet, and know thousands of medicinal plants by heart to heal themselves without needing a hospital. Their identity is carved through tattoos made from wild fruit sap and spiritual rituals that connect them to their ancestors. To outsiders, the rainforest might look dangerous and harsh, but to indigenous communities, it's home, the place that provides food, knowledge, and spiritual life. The forest is a school, a farm, a playground, and a sacred space all at once. Indigenous people always treat it with deep respect. Elders pass down knowledge of the forest to the youth. Some tribes even choose to stay completely isolated today, living without electricity or the internet. No matter how much the modern world changes, the people of the Amazon keep fighting to preserve their identity as warriors protecting the green forest. Alto do Chão in Brazil is like a hidden slice of the Caribbean, right in the Amazon, where white sand beaches and the crystal clear blue waters of the Tapajós River show up right in the middle of the tropical rainforest. Despite looking like a gorgeous ocean beach, the water here is entirely fresh. You can soak in it all day without tasting a single bit of salt. The icon of this area is Love Island, an island that has a mysterious knack for vanishing. During the flood season, it goes completely underwater, making way for surreal, flooded forests. Only when the dry season comes does the strip of sand slowly show up again from the riverbed like a magic trick. In contrast to the wildness of rivers choked with red mud, Alto do Chão has a soul so quiet and pure it feels unreal. Here, water isn't just a current. It's a giant mirror reflecting the bright tropical sky, turning this place into a quiet sanctuary in the heart of the Amazon. Puerto Maldonado, Peru, is like a humid gateway into the heart of the southern Amazon, where reddish-brown rivers, deep jungle, and wildlife are always moving together. Sitting at the junction of major rivers, this place is considered Peru's biodiversity capital, packed with birds, butterflies, and mammals. Every morning, hundreds of red, blue, and yellow macaws cover the clay cliffs along the riverbanks to eat minerals, creating a bright painting right in the rainforest. In oxbow lakes that are as flat as mirrors, black caimans, giant river otters, and flooded palm forests create a world that is both beautiful and mysterious. With about 126 inches of rain a year, the forest stays damp, while canopy walkways about 98 feet high let you see the Amazon from the viewpoint of birds and monkeys. With its hustle and bustle, local culture, and rivers connecting the Andes to the rainforest, this place truly earned its title as the biodiversity capital of Peru. The Macaw clay licks, called colpas by locals, are one of the most spectacular wildlife sights in the Amazon. At dawn, dozens, sometimes hundreds of brightly coloured macaws gather on exposed riverbanks to eat mineral-rich clay. These clay deposits play a critical role. Scientists believe these minerals help neutralise toxins found in the seeds and fruits the macaws eat, letting them safely digest food that would otherwise hurt them. Not every riverbank has the right mineral mix. The birds keep coming back to specific spots, sometimes flying long distances, about dozens of kilometres or miles, to reach the exact same exposed cliff. These gatherings also draw predators. Birds of prey circle above, waiting for a gap in the flock's defence formation. This tug of war between risk and reward shapes how macaws behave, creating one of the most vivid scenes in the Amazon. Macaws are graceful parrots that paint the forest with bright feathers and elegant flights. These birds are true treasures of the Amazon, not just for their beauty, but for their intelligence and social habits. They have beaks as hard as steel, with a crushing force that can rival a mid-sized alligator, strong enough to crack open rock-hard nuts that humans would need a hammer for. Even weirder, these parrots gather at clay cliffs to detox after eating wild fruits that contain poisons. Macaws aren't just tough, they are some of the most romantic creatures in the wild, staying monogamous for life and flying side by side their entire lives. Living in family groups, macaws form tight bonds and communicate through unique calls. Manu National Park, Peru, is like a kingdom of life that's almost forbidden to enter, where nature spills down from the freezing Andes into the hot, humid Amazon rainforest. This is one of the rare places that protects an almost unbroken ecological strip, running from altitudes of about 13,123 feet down to around 492 feet, creating drastic changes within a single piece of land. Spanning over 4.2 million acres, this place is big enough to hold cloud forests, alpine grasslands, jungle rivers, and thick tropical canopies. It holds an incredible record of over 1,000 bird species and more than 1,300 butterfly species, turning every forest layer into a colourful living lab. In the cloud forests, mist hangs between cliffs, moss and orchids cover tree trunks, and bright birds pop out like sparks through the cold white fog. This place isn't just a biological treasure for Peru, it's also home to isolated communities, reminding us that the deep forest still holds worlds that modern humans shouldn't disturb. Iquitos is one of the largest cities in the world that cannot be reached by road. That exact isolation has shaped its identity for over a century. The city boomed during the rubber rush of the late 1800s when wealthy merchants imported European architecture, materials and furniture, turning this remote settlement into a global trade hub. But when the rubber market crashed, Iquitos had to adapt or disappear. Today, the city stays deeply tied to the rivers surrounding it. Seasonal floods can raise water levels by several meters, nearly 10 feet, forcing houses, markets and walkways to adjust year after year. Most of daily life relies on boats, which work like taxis, buses and delivery trucks. The jungle starts right outside the city limits, and its influence is in everything. From medicinal plants sold at the market to traditional fishing methods along the banks. What makes Iquitos especially interesting is how urban life coexists with the wilderness wrapping around it. As water levels drop, pools shrink and forest trails reappear, showing a gradual shift toward higher ground. It's right here, as the forest opens up, that you run into a landscape so unexpected it feels like it belongs to another continent. Caño Cristales is often called the River of Five Colors, but the phenomenon behind it is much more complicated than that nickname. The bright reds, yellows, greens, blues and purples come from a single aquatic plant species, Macarenia clavigera. This species only grows under very specific conditions. It needs clear, shallow water, bright sunlight, and just the right current speed. If the current is too fast, the plant gets ripped out. If it's too slow, sediment covers it. This fragile balance explains why Caño Cristales looks brilliant during certain months, but dull in others. Despite its bright look, this river is incredibly fragile. Strict rules limit the number of visitors, making sure walkways and viewing spots don't mess with the current or stir up mud. Welcome to a world shaped not by rivers but by massive cliffs, table mountains, and waterfalls unlike anywhere else on the planet. This is Canaima National Park, a land spanning over 11,500 square miles in Venezuela, ruled by ancient sandstone plateaus called tepuis. In the middle of that grand space, Mount Roraima rises abruptly like a prehistoric fortress trapped between heaven and earth. Formed from sandstone layers dating back 2 billion years, this 12 square mile flat summit has stood the test of time like an isolated island, preserving species found nowhere else on Earth. Standing over 1,300 feet above the forest floor, the ecosystem on top is completely cut off from the world below. When fog rolls in, hiding the ordinary world, Roraima's peak looks like it's floating on a rolling sea of clouds. To the Pemon people, this is the trunk of an ancient sacred tree, and a symbol of Earth's endurance over billions of years. And right at the heart of Canaima, from the edge of Oyan Tepui Mountain, plunges Angel Falls, the tallest single-drop waterfall in the world, pouring down from a record height of over 3,200 feet. That massive stream dissolves into giant clouds of mist, drifting slowly along the sheer cliff before it can even touch the cold pool below. It's a grand dance of water and wind, closing the epic chapter of this sacred land. Left alone, the rainforest is a sanctuary of eternal balance. But now those endless green spaces are scarred with dry, barren patches left behind by human hands. The cold sound of chainsaws rings out, tearing through space that used to belong only to birdsong and mountain winds. Every inch of forest that falls pushes millions of living souls to the brink of extinction. The destruction doesn't stop there. The dark, illegal gold rush brings toxic mercury dumped straight into the rivers, choking the life source of indigenous tribes. On land, a ruthless black market hunts down rare species, breaking natural links in the ecological chain. Fires started by humans release massive emissions, destroying what the forest took thousands of years to store and clean. Even so, the Amazon has never given up. Trees rise again. Rain still gathers above the canopy, pours down to the ground, and evaporates back up. The Amazon is fighting to save itself for the entire future of the Earth. In the heart of the Amazon jungle, every creature from the majestic king jaguar to the fragile butterfly carries the eternal soul of this sacred sanctuary. Here, life fully shows its wild, raw beauty and an unbreakable, everlasting resilience. The rivers here shape the oceans. The clouds from the jungle shape the weather for entire continents. Every bit of moisture rising from the leaves turns into rain that cools a far-off land somewhere in the world. The health of the Amazon is the memory, the benchmark for our planet's survival. It reminds us of a lesson. Learn to bow down and live in harmony with the very thing keeping us alive. Because the Amazon breathes. And so do we. If journeys like this excite you, hit the subscribe button and join us on our next trip.